guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you today. And we're on the last day, as you know, of our master topic. We start on a Saturday, we roll through the week, and we end up on a Friday. We've been trying different times to see what works for people in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and getting different results. So happy about that. And so I really do want to thank you for popping in, whether you're watching us at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon, 1:30 in the morning, 12 noon, 12 midnight, 4 a.m., 4 p.m., whenever you choose to watch. Thank you so much for making inspirations for your life a daily part of your motivational diet. I really appreciate you popping in and seeing what we have here because we've got lots of great information to share with you guys to improve your life. And on with our master topic. Are we ready? It's understanding why releasing control will give you more of it. Show 30. Episode 7, we're in series 2, which means we're in the second year. So kudos to that. I can't believe we're in the second year. We'll almost be in the third year pretty soon. And so we've been talking a lot about power and leadership and how you should release control. Because so many people have this misconception that if they, try to control everything and anything, that they'll have more control, but actually they'll have less. So let's go over to our friends, Merriam-Webster, to get the definition for us on the word reward. All right. So reward, according to Merriam-Webster, it's a verb. It is to give a reward or for something that has been done. So reward is a noun, because you have reward as a verb, but reward is a noun, something that is given in return for good or evil done or received, or that is offered or given for some service or attainment. For example, the police offered a reward for information on the missing person posting. A stimulus such as food that is administered to an organism and serves to reinforce a desired response. All right, so now we know what reward is. So what is reward power? What is reward power? Well, that's a great question. So reward power is something we see a lot in the workplace, right? And so, why do you get up every morning? What is actually propelling you to live and do the things you're doing? Okay. Is it part of an incentive theory that you're being motivated? Maybe, right? So reward power is a formal power given to a work leader to give out rewards to other employees. For example, when people do a great job, they may get a reward to continue doing what they're doing. They reinforce that positive behavior. Reward power is given to employees that manage or oversee the work of a team. Reward power is important because it helps to cultivate and reinforce what behaviors they want to continue. You can create healthy competition, increase employee retention, motivate and encourage employees, but it can cost the organization money. What I found, though, is that little bit of money that it's going to cost you is a lot more worth it than the amount of employees you're going to go through or the amount of ill performance that'll happen. So if a reward is based on performance, other employees may become demotivated. Rewards can lose power over time. So how do you use reward power effectively? You use rewards that interest your employees, remembering to be fair, okay? You can use a mix of tangible and intangible rewards, such as you do this, you might get a day off, or, you might get, and that's with pay, or you might get a new company car, or you might get a trip for two or something like that, or a trip for your family. Give both personal and team rewards. So those are rewards that can help the team as well as rewards that can help you as a person. So a reward that might help the team may be that they need a new, let's say they need a new machine to do their job better. Even though they could do it well now, but with the reward, they're going to get one that does it faster, whatever that is. Make sure you know that employees know why they're being rewarded. It's not just something you're doing to be nice. You're doing it to, again, reinforce the behavior. So whether it's tangible or intangible, That could be a bonus, pay raise, time off, gifts, gift card, membership, access to training courses, coaching sessions, maybe things intangible like praise, more responsibility through an authority delegation, company wide recognition at events, more autonomy or flexibility about how work is completed. That's a great one. If you're doing your job well and somebody gives you autonomous ability so that you can do it when you want, that's a great reward. That means, hey, you're doing the right thing. Keep up what you're doing because we like the way you're working. Now, I promised you we would talk a little deeper about all these types of rewards, right? So, one reward type we talked about earlier in the week was control, right? And then we talked about the most important thing of the control umbrella for leaders is legitimate power, coercive power, expert power, informational power, reward power, connection power, referent power. Okay. So let's just do a quick recap on what those are. And those are the 9 types, I like to say, of leadership power. All right. 9 types of leadership power that effective leaders need to possess. Okay, that's really, really important. So let's go through it real quickly. So we've got legitimate power, such as in a hierarchy of an organization, and leaders with legitimate power can influence employees because of their specific title or position. Right? You gain legitimate power in a company by showing you have experience and skills. There's coercive power. Power someone gains through a threat or force. Not always the greatest, but sometimes it works, like they use it in school. If you don't turn in your homework on time, well, you're going to lose playtime for the entire week. After you finish eating your lunch, you're going to have to sit inside while everyone else goes out and plays. Refer power. Power that is based on a role model holds. So it occurs when leaders have a strong interpersonal skills and you follow them as they find inspiring leaders to help them along their journey. This power is not one that a leader can bestow on themselves as though it's important of the ones of who would admire the leader. It's those people that will designate them as a role model, not themselves. They can make, I can say, the suggestion or put in the effort and then do what they need to, and they'll achieve it, but it's actually bestowed upon by others. Charismatic power. This is when you inspire positivity and joyful feelings in others. And it's a very important thing because the power does not have a structured approach, but it really just promotes a real goodwill, good karma. Expert power. It exists because people possess certain skills and it leads others to defer to the expert, right? Well, I don't know. Let's talk to the expert about that. Let's talk to the SME, the subject matter expert. We talked about informational power. That's a power that you may have or lose depending on whether you have access to certain information. Reward power, which is what we talked about today, very important to incentivize your employees, contractors, as well as different people, maybe in your family unit or maybe volunteers in a group. Okay. We have moral power. This is power that inspires action based on beliefs and behavior, taking the stance of moral leaders, living by a principle that others can observe and decide whether they want to follow or not. Use moral power in your career, establish a personal mission statement and philosophy for what the workplace will be comprised of for you. Connection power. Leaders have connection power when their alliances with influential people is admired and desired by others. So lots of different types of power. But now let's talk about the juicy part. And that is everyone thinks that you're going to get so much more power and control if you become this control freak. And you need to control, everybody and everything and every option, molecule, atom that takes up space in this world. It happens because of an ego that gets formed. And so when we act upon our ego, okay, alone, what can happen is it shuts down our heart. And by shutting down our heart, we no longer are making decisions on the best premise for each other. We're making them on what I feel is best for me. We're not taking into account the heart. Now, I'm not saying that when you have certain decisions, you should, you know, not look at emotions. Well, there are certain decisions that you can't look at emotions on, right? You have to make decisions uh, based on something that's good for overall. Maybe you have to make layoffs in your company. And even though you're really torn because the person might be in a, let's say, a, a divorced situation, and maybe they have a couple kids and they don't have money, that's not your responsibility. You can't let that affect you as to whether you're going to fire them or not going to fire them. I think the biggest reason people go wrong in life is strictly because they allow their emotions to dictate the decision they're going to make. So they're already going to make a decision that I have to fire Michael. I don't want to fire Michael, but I have to fire Michael. I looked at the numbers on the paper, I've looked at our expenses, and I know that our current budget can't support this many people and I have to make cuts. If I let my ego get involved, right? Or I let my emotions get strong involved, I don't do what's best for the company, right? And I'm thinking, well, I got to help this person. Okay, but that's not your job in that position. So we have to know that using our emotions is important, but we can't make every decision based on our emotions. We just can't. Sometimes you'll get a gut whether to do something or not. And so now that you understand that as you start to release control, okay, as I mentioned in that one example before, when you're doing something well, they start to give you more autonomy as a reward, right? They start to give you more autonomy as a reward. And so I literally let go and I got more control. I got more control of my life. I think people fear letting go because they sense the worst is going to happen when they let go. But it's just the opposite. If we can learn to let go, we can learn to let live, we can learn to appreciate our lives. So when we're not controlling every little thing in our life, I find that life gets easier for everyone. That's right, life gets easier for everyone. And if life gets easier for everyone, that means that being around people is going to be easier. So I know when you hear the word control, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to control this. I've got to manage this. I've got to do that because you're a control freak. You don't need to be that control freak. You don't need to be that person that's so on top of every little thing. Yes, you can keep track of things, but you don't need to be like your fingers on every pulse. You don't need to do that in every part of your life. And I think these are the people that a lot of times are in relationships, and the relationships end because they become too much of a control freak. They try to run their home like they run the business, and they don't know how to differentiate when home life starts and work life starts, or home life ends and work life begins, and vice versa. So this might sound like a very simple thing, and it is. It's just that people get scared on what they should be doing in life. So they feel the only thing they need to do is to control everything in life. Yeah. So just taking that time to step back and to realize that if you're being dominated by someone who is abusing you in power, it might be time to start looking at other options. It might be time to realize that you've got more potential than you think. You might feel that, oh my gosh, I can't go anywhere else because this company's hired me. I've been with them so long and I can't possibly leave them. That's your ego getting involved. That's you getting fearful. Learn to take a breath, hold it for a count of three, exhale, and enjoy life. So again, make the choice to release control and you'll have more control. Let me give you another example before I go. And the best one I can give you is let's take a sport. Maybe we'll take a sport like golf, which I love to play. So when you hold the club and you hold it for dear life, like you're gonna feel like it's gonna be taken out of your hands, you're not so easy to swing that club. Becomes a problem. But if you hold that club loosely with just a little bit of pressure, you can swing like that all day long. It won't tire your hands. You'll have a better shot. You'll be more accurate. And that's just one example. Even in basketball, if you know, hold your hand too tight while you're dribbling, it can make it very easy for other people to just steal that ball right away from you. Everything has to have an ebb and a flow, right? And so when things get too, let's say, chaotic, or like you can't manage them, or like they're too overwhelming, just step back, take a breath, and realize that even though you might not seem like you're in control, let go of things a little bit. And you'll start to figure out that other things will come back to you. Now, it may not happen overnight, but when you start to let go of control, it starts to let others know that, hey, you're not a bad guy, you're not a bad lady, and you're someone that is trying to do the right thing. Many managers get placed in these positions by friends, nepotism, etc. And they're not good leaders, not because they can't be, but simply because they believe that they're in this title, this position, and that they can reign and do whatever they want. See, that's an abuse of power. That's an abuse of control. And these are people that will never, ever release control. Why? Because they have an ego problem. And I said this before, when the ego gets too high, the heart says, all right, I'm out. Like you're on this on your own. You're on the rest of this trip you're on. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic Friday. And we've got so much other great content. I'd love you to check out at believemeachieve.com or scan the QR code. Just alone today, we launched, because it's Friday, we launched another great video. And this video that we launched today, which, by the way, they get launched at 8 a.m. in the morning, was pretty cool because every day there's something that we might not be aware of. And the video was basically entitled, a pretty good title. And the title was to do one thing, and that was to wake up early. The other thing that I released a video on today was with Science Fridays with John, and that video was pretty cool. I actually launched a science video on learning about pressure with science, inflating a balloon with pressure, vacuum science part 2. And I feel that when we start to let go, when we start to just be able to take a breath, that chaos seems to magically fall away and order just naturally starts to permeate. Again, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, your evening. Of course, we'll have another brand new master topic, when, tomorrow. So be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to click on that PayPal link, make the choice, buy my team and I a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, savory dessert plate, all at John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur YouTube channel. Check out all the other great content, including GFR, genuine food reviews, the TikTok channel. There's a lot of great content. So explore it. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you feel like you're not in control, step back and let go of the reins a little bit. And you'll start to find out that not only are you going to empower other people, you'll have more control than you ever thought you would. Have yourself an amazing rest of the day and evening. We'll see you guys real soon. Be well.